Good evening, everybody. I'm David Lipschitz, and from my power station. I'm recording the first video all over again because the sound quality on the original first video was so bad. And okay, the purpose of this video is called Dear Moody's, and the idea is that Moody's want to downgrade South Africa from investment grade to junk status, non-investment grade, in November. Already Standard & Poor's and Fitch a couple of years ago downgraded South Africa to junk status, and in fact Eskom, South Africa's electricity utility, is already 5 levels below investment status, 6 levels away from investment status, 5 levels below that magical line where investment status starts. The problem is that if South Africa as a whole, if its sovereign status, sovereign is the country in this case, South Africa, the Republic of South Africa. If the sovereign status is reduced from investment status to below investment status, then blue chip companies that are invested in South Africa, retirement funds, countries that hold South African rands for whatever reason, etc., will have to disinvest according to the requirements of only being invested in blue chip stocks and countries that are investment grade. So 2 out of 3 of the main companies in the world that rate organizations and companies and countries have already downgraded South Africa, and Moody's is the last one. And Moody's have said that they are considering downgrading us in November. It could happen later, it could happen sooner, it might never happen. So I take it upon myself as a concerned and active citizen to ask Moody's not to do it and to explain why. I'll go through a whole lot of documents and show what I see, and then I'll also say one thing now, which is that the reason that I believe why we're not having load shedding, electrical load shedding, power failures, blackouts if you like, and the reason why we're not having water shedding and the reason why Western Cape did not run out of water last year is because of the massive embedded electricity generation and massive embedded water systems that have been installed by private people. So whilst the government are doing whatever they're doing, and we can look into that during this series, private people are saying, well, you know, we live in a world where we need to look after ourselves, and if you want to know what's going to happen tomorrow and you want to predict the future, the easiest way to do that is to know that you've looked after yourself from an electricity, water and food point of view. So my presentation is basically in 4 sections. The first section is called Policy and Law. The second section is called Translation. The third section is called Commentary. And the fourth section is called Hidden Messages or Hidden Meanings. And those are the messages that I see coming out of this. Some of these messages you'll see whilst I present the other sections, and some of the messages you'll see in the conclusion at the end. So the first section, I'm going to switch now so that you can see the documents, and so I can talk you through them from a high-level point of view. Okay, so the first document that you can see here is called the policy. Okay, so you'll see A1 is policy and A2 is law. B is translation, C is commentary, and D will be hidden messages. A1, okay, is the first part of A, policy and law. So there's all A1, then there's A2, then there's B and C. This numbering system here is just so that I can sort them into order. The numbers don't mean anything except that I'm going to do 1000 first, then 1020, 1040 and so on. When I get to B, I'm going to be doing 1000 first, 120, 140, etc. Policy, just to remind us that we're in the policy section or the law section or the translation section or the commentary section. And then this 1998 here is the year that the white paper was produced. I'm going to explain what a white paper is. 2003, 2010, blah, blah, blah. And then we get down to 2009, 2010, and then we get law, NERSA, 2004, 5, 7, 8. I try to keep the policy in order. This one says do not load because I had to pay for it and it's confidential. I'm going to show you the front page, which is just what it says, but I can't actually load this onto the internet because it's a copyright document. It shouldn't be. I'm going to explain all about what it is, but I'm not going to load it. Okay? So effectively, policy is produced in a white paper. You can see it says white paper. And a white paper is a document from the government which produces policy. And a policy is essentially a strategy. So when a company produces a strategy, it says this is our strategy for the next 5 years, 10 years, or if it's an energy company, it could be 50 years. If it's an IT company, it could be 6 months. But we all have strategies, and the strategy is the overall place where we're going. We obviously have a vision, and the vision comes from a dream. A dreamer has a vision, and therefore I might be a dreamer, but if I don't have a vision, then I can't be in business. So I can't say I've got a dream. I have to have a vision, because a dreamer has a vision, and an entrepreneur has a dream which becomes a vision. The vision gets made into a mission, and then the mission you produce objectives, critical success factors, and so on, producing your strategy. A white paper is a government document producing policy. Policy is strategy. Then, once you've developed all your policy, you have to develop law. The law is the way the government says we're going to actually do things. It's the structure of the strategy. So this is the law enables the policy. Now, generally, my feeling is that law is actually about security. It's about safety. So every single law is about keeping us safe. If it's an electrical supply bylaw from the City of Cape Town, or it's a distribution network code from Eskom, or a standard from the South African Bureau of Standards, or it's an electricity act, then it's all standards that we should abide by, and laws we should abide by, so we don't have shocking experiences. So we don't get shocked. We don't literally get an electrical shock, or any other kind of shock. Our expectations are met. So every law, whether it's law for cars, or it's law for electricity, or it's law for water, it should be about protecting us, and it should be about protecting the Constitution and observing the Constitution, which says that we're all equal and that we all have the right to clean air and clean life. After policy and law comes translation. Now for me, translation is what professional people have said about the policy and the law. So the first one is from 1974. Remember, in 1974, in the early 1970s, America was having its oil crisis, energy crisis, and Ford spent 2 years and several $1 million producing a very long report explaining America's energy future. So as far back as 1974, Ford Foundation and other organizations and companies were looking at the future and saying, where are we going to be in 50 years' time? Because in an IT company, in a computer company, in a software company, the short term is 6 months, the medium term is 1 year, the long term is 2 years. In an energy company, such as a utility or a water utility, the short term is 5 years. Excuse me. The short term is 5 years. The medium term is 15 years. The long term is 50 years. Some hydroelectric schemes were conceived 50 years before they were developed. Then we have Competition Act. We have Eskom history commentary from Grove Steyn. This commentary is Anton Eberhard. This translation, is Andrew Anish. So each of these are actually commentaries. I use the word commentary, but they're by professionals in their field, and that's why I've called them translation. Later on we get commentary, and that's Crank Up Old Machine for New Tricks. That's me and an article that I had in the newspaper. So this whole section here that you can see in the middle, that's me in the paper. And then we've got Anthony Keane, who is a private person who installed his own PV system, and then some other comments from me and so on. So that commentary is by a person who is interested in the industry, knows a lot about the industry potentially, but who isn't actually a so-called professional in the industry. So that's basically the overall structure of what I'm going to show to Moody's, and to hopefully get them to watch this and to say, please don't make us a pariah state, a failed state, because of the amount of goodwill, the amount of embedded generation, water and energy that's happening in the system that's under the radar. Eskom and the Department of Energy say we're actually using less and less energy, but if you look around, you see massive new buildings, you see new companies, and so electricity use is increasing, but perhaps not as much as it should be. Let's go back to me. So thank you very much for watching this new video. I'm going to replace the old video number 1. This will be new video number 1. Thank you very much. See you next time.